All right, so for this next section here, let's just finish out the render. I'll try and get it pretty close to what we have in the project file. It's probably not going to be exact, but we can just kind of see as sort of a bonus lesson, just kind of like what that process might look something like. And yeah, so I'm going to just, let's get this out. I'm going to untick the lock here so that my I'm no longer locked to my view. And I'm going to go over here and let's turn on. Let's make sure all of our objects are turned on. So I'm just selecting all these objects that are turned off and turning them back on by hitting that blue display flag. And it's recooking because I'm just opening my file for the first time in a while and turning that on. All right, so all the elements are up. And I'm just going to make sure all my lights are on. Looks like all of those are turned on. Okay, great. So let's just, I'm going to enlarge this and let's fire off a render so we can see where we're at. Okay, so the main sections I really want to address here are maybe this pyro surface right here, this paint splash right here, and these glass particles, and then adding a background color to the whole thing. So let's first start with these glass shatter up here. I'm going to stop the render. I'm going to go over here to the matte section here, and I'm going to create, let's say I'm going to just go up here near the poly and create a new RS material builder. I'll call this Redshift OpNet. I'll just rename this to glass. And I'm going to dive inside. Now, the default for Redshift 3.5 is to use the standard material, but I built this project before upgrading to Redshift 3.5. So I'm actually going to be using the old Redshift material. So I'm going to delete that standard material and hit RS material. Just use this RS material node like this and just wire that into our surface. And then I will grab the, let's find the glass here in our object level. I'm going to grab the glass, go to the render tab, and just drag this glass material onto it. And then from here, I will, let's do the tinted glass preset, like so. And we'll just dial it in from here. I'm going to, let's start a little IPR here and see what that gives us. To speed up the render, I'm going to actually turn off a bunch of other stuff. So let's just turn off, I'm going to turn off maybe I'll leave the volume and the instances on since they're nearby this glass, but I'm going to turn off the particles and I'm going to turn off the splines for now. At least the vortex splines. Maybe I'll leave the hair splines there. And then I'm going to turn off the paint splash and pyro surface and cloth render for right now, just so things can go a little bit quicker. And click render again. And then I'm just going to drag a region around the glass so that I can kind of have the render focus on that and just kind of zoom in here. And immediately I'm going to go down and crank up the refraction roughness. So I'm going to leave the reflection roughness to be 0, but I'm going to go down to the refraction and unlink to reflection, and then increase the roughness to about 0.5. So let's do that. Oops. And that really kind of helps the glass become a little bit more visible here. Then in the subsurface settings, I'm going to change the transmittance color and the absorption scale just to make things pop a little bit more color. So let's crank up the absorption scale to something like 30. You can see that some of that color is coming back in. And I'm going to just dial the transmittance color back to, I'm going to pick a red color and then kind of pull it off so that it becomes a little bit more of this nice orangey glass color to kind of match the rest of our scene, like so. Something around 0.18. Looking good, and it's also looking like it's getting enough highlights in there, so I'm just going to leave the lighting alone on that for right now. And let's move on. Let's stop the IPR and move on to the next element. Let's work on the paint down here.